Hi Spartans! Kudos to you for choosing the spicy challenge about how to make your analysis even stronger. This video is going to give you some tips on how to make your analysis stronger specifically for this essay when you're diving into the experiences of a character and how they face stereotypes around race, gender, culture, religion, etc. These are some theories about oppression and stereotypes that you could include to make your analysis even better. In this video, we're going to go over 4 different theories that you could use to incorporate into your essay to explain your character's experiences and how they lend themselves to the author's message about stereotypes and how other people's perceptions affect someone's life. The first theory is called stereotype threat. Stereotype threat is a situation where someone feels they will conform to stereotypes associated with their identity. If you look at the image below, on the left side we have a girl. The first bubble says, "Girls are bad at math." In some scenarios, a girl may feel threatened to believe that if based on media, based on what they've learned in their lives. On the right side, you'll see a boy. It says, "Boys aren't creative." Similarly, there are situations in the United States, in media, and what people see in hear in conversations, that boys may come to believe and feel threatened that they are not creative. That's what stereotype threat means. I want you to think in your own book, how might this theory about oppression and stereotypes come alive? The second theory is called intersectionality. This is the idea that the overlapping of multiple identities someone holds. These identities are multiplicative, not additive. If you look at the image, it shows one person in the middle who has many parts of their identity, whether that be their race, education, sexuality, their ability or disability, age, gender, ethnicity, culture, language, and class. Intersectionality says that it's not enough to say that someone is just one race, or they experience oppression just through the lens of that race. Instead, they also experience it based on their class, whether they have a lot of money or they're poor. Based on their language ability. Do they speak English in America? Do they speak multiple languages? Think of the case of Margie for a moment. A lot of the oppression and stereotypes in that story of Persepolis come from her gender. There are certain stereotypes around gender that are placed upon her, and she can only do so many things. Part of those stereotypes and those beliefs also come from her culture. Historically in Islam, she says in the first chapter of the book that only women can be prophets, but she wants to be a prophet. Therefore, she is experiencing oppression both from her stereotypes about her gender and her culture. Those double the stereotypes against her. I want you to think, based on the protagonist or the main character's experience in your book, how might that contribute to the author's message? How might intersectionality play a role? Here are 2 more theories. One is called internalized oppression. This is the belief that stereotypes are associated with one's identity are normal and true. If you think all the way back to the beginning of the project, we looked at this image. This is an image from a book called The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. In that story, there is a boy named Junior who is Native American, but moves to a white school. He then starts to associate ideas that are true about being white and being Native American. He then believes that white people in the world are all positive role models, and that white people have bright futures. He also then believes that Indian or Native American people have a bone-crushing reality ahead of them. They can only buy cheap jeans from Sears and clothes from Kmart, and instead of a backpack, they use garbage bags for backpacks. He begins to have specific ideas associated with those 2 identities, and he believes that those are true. There are some problems that come up for him as a result. I want you to think about your main character now. Are there beliefs that your main character holds that are based on stereotypes that they think are true? How might this contribute to the author's message in your book? The 4th theory is called structural oppression. This is the laws, policy systems, and institutions in society whose practices set up inequities between social groups. Here's what this might mean. Look at this image right here. Here's a cow, and it says, "The illusion of free choice." In front of the cow are 2 separate entryways. One says left, one says right. It looks like this cow can make two choices. However, both pathways lead to a slaughterhouse. This image is a metaphor for what structural oppression means in our society. This theory says that there are some systems or ways of doing things in our world where it looks like people are able to succeed, but really they're just set up for them to fail. In some societies, or in some people's minds, they might say that the criminal justice system is set up for people to fail. There are patterns across the United States where there are more black men incarcerated than there are white people. There are more black men convicted of murders than white people. This theory says that there are structures set up to guarantee that oppression at all times. I want you to think about the setting in your book. How might the setting reflect this idea of structural oppression, and how might that contribute to the author's message? Here's your next steps. Your next step is to add at least one of the theories about oppression and stereotypes to each of your paragraphs. This will make your analysis even stronger because it will let you dive into the character's experience as well as how the setting is set up to really allow for stereotypes and oppression to be at play. Here are some ways you could integrate these ideas. You want to connect to your buzzwords. Again, those are the ideas you need to bring back over and over and over again in your essay to really drive your point home. You might also try some of these sentence stems. Look at the first one. It says, blank's experience shows the effects of blank. This causes blank. Here's what that might sound like. Margie's experience shows the effects of intersectionality. This causes Margie not only to be oppressed due to her gender, but also her culture. The Islamic culture put certain beliefs in her mind about what women can and cannot do, and the government's policies after the revolution also put limits on her. Look at the second one. It says, literary device highlights the effects of blank. This causes blank. For a lesson before dying, here's what that might sound like. The justice system in the book highlights the effects of structural oppression. This causes Jefferson to believe that black men are inherently guilty. They're inherently less than the innocent white men. That's why he calls himself a hog. You now have the rest of work time to incorporate these theories into your essay. At the end of that work time, someone will check your work to let you know how you can make your analysis even stronger.